Hey guys, Daniel Lehman, president of the Lehman Group, coming to you for the first time in a new video newsletter that I've been wanting to put together for a while just because I'm tired of typing long-winded things that nobody ever reads. Just kidding. Basically, for the first issue of this, I wanted to go over what's going on since this is such a historic occasion, my first video newsletter. I wanted to go over another historic occasion, which is basically this credit crunch going on. I know you guys have probably heard it on CNBC, on all over the news and everything else. This credit crunch, and how it's affecting everybody. And I kind of wanted to speak directly to my clients, my friends and family, and just kind of explain what's going on and how it affects you. Basically, what happens is when you do a loan, it's not like it used to be. It used to be the savings and loans would take deposits in the form of checking accounts, savings accounts and whatnot, and they would have these big bundles of money that they pay you 1 or 2% on in the form of your checking or savings interest, and then they would go and loan it out for mortgages for people. So they would loan it at 6% and they would make the return. Nowadays it's not quite that way anymore. What happens now is, to keep liquidity in the mortgage market, what happens is the home loan itself, say you do a home loan and it goes through Wells Fargo. Well, what's going to happen is your loan on day X, on whatever day it is, gets bundled up with $100 million in, for example, $100 million in other loans with Wells Fargo, and then it's sold. It's sold to the secondary market and eventually to consumers in forms of mortgage-backed securities. Just depending on who it is. Sometimes Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac pick up the conforming loans, 417,000 below, with pretty solid borrowers. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac picks up. So basically, what happens is Wells Fargo can go on and originate more. It's called the origination type method of lending. So what happened is, basically, the market was great. House prices were going up. Everything was looking good, so the investors in the end who are buying these things were saying, we're making a killing. Secondary market, we're making a killing. Wells Fargo, we're making a killing, because they would basically take that $100 million in loans and they would sell it to the secondary market and investors for $105 million. So their profit on that day was $5 million on that loan, and then they had all this money to lend and fund new loans. So what happened when so it went down the trail. In the past 5 years, basically the investors would say, you know what, these things are making us a killing. We need to get more money out there. So in the last 5 years, what they've done is they had said, you know what, instead of a 720 FICO, you need a 680 FICO. Instead of putting 20% down, you need nothing down, and more than that, we'll give you money on future value. So if you want a second at 125% of the value of your house, we'll give it to you. It's crazy. So this is all obviously backfiring now. With the decline in home values nationwide, and especially here in San Diego, what's going on is there's more and more defaults. As we knew what was going to happen, people started living off of their equity. So they would pull money to pay for their defaults, to pay for whatever they needed to pay. Now it's run out. The value's not there. It's harder to refinance. So it's going down the line. The investor is now saying, hey, wait a minute. There's some risk in this. We don't know about this anymore. So what happened is, when this became apparent, these investors are starting to say to Wells Fargo, you know what? There's a lot more risk out there than we thought. We are going to not buy those loans anymore from you for $105,000 or $105 million, making their $5 million profit, or $102 million, $2 million profit, whatever it was. Now they're saying, for our increased risk, we're going to need increased return or discounted purchase price for these things. So now they're buying this whole big bulk thing that Wells Fargo set up for $100 million worth of loans. Those end investors are buying it for $95 million. So Wells Fargo was taking a $5 million loss. $5 million loss, not that big when you think of the scope of these big lenders. However, you got to think, when you do a loan, that's not the only day. You lock in a rate for 30 days, 60 days. So Wells Fargo is stuck with these loans in their pipeline for 30 to 60 days, each day taking a $5 million loss. That's a huge loss over time, especially for some of these lenders that don't do anything but loans. Countrywide almost went bankrupt. Thornburg stopped. Some of the big lenders. American Home Mortgage went out of business because they couldn't sustain these losses. The good lenders to look at right now are lenders that have something else in place, something like a Chase, a Wells Fargo, a Washington Mutual, because they have credit cards, they have deposits, they have all sorts of liquidity, so they can continue to fund and continue to, in the end, gain more market share. Because as these lenders fall out, they're going to swoop in. So that's what's been going on, and it's basically kind of feeding itself because now it's getting harder and harder to get loans, so there's more defaults. And if there's more defaults, now the investors are less happy with it. So that's what's been going on with this credit crunch. It's been happening worldwide, and there's been a number of things that have been done to kind of curb it. If you have any questions on it, just give me a call and we'll talk it through. But how it affects you, basically, I think the home loans, obviously what we're seeing now is home loans are a lot harder to get. Right when they saw these changes happening, we've been getting email after email after email from lenders saying, we no longer do 100% stated. We no longer, which is completely warranted. If you're doing it smart and you can use the leverage wisely, it's a good deal. But all these guys doing 100% stated when they couldn't afford to pay for the property, it was a gamble to begin with, and it's not something that anybody should be really messing with. Anyway, so from now on, it's going to be a lot harder to acquire properties if you can't qualify for them. The jumbo market, $417,000 loans and above, are tougher. Obviously, subprime is a thing of the past. Forget about it. And anything stated, anything without big compensating factors are getting tough to do. So that's something definitely to think about. I think home prices are going to be pretty stagnant for a while. And what it means to you kind of, I guess, depends on who you are. Because this is going out to quite a few people. If you've been in the market for a house and you have some money for it down and you're highly qualified, there's going to be some smoking deals for you. Big incentives, a good time to purchase, a lot of opportunity. If you're getting up there and leveraged and you're worried about the future, it's something we should maybe talk about. And figure out a plan. As always, you should remain liquid. You shouldn't pile everything into your equity. You should have some kind of cash on hand in case something happens. But again, if you have any questions about anything, that's what's going on with the credit markets right now. It will correct itself. It always does. But I think it's a case of the pendulum swung way to the conservative side. We gave everybody loans that they want. It's not really. It was really a function of greed more than anything else. Everybody wanting to make more money. The consumer wanting to make more on the house. The lenders and the investors wanting to make more on these investments, so sending out more and more money. But that's what's going on. Any questions or anything, as always, please give me a call. Never anything sales. We'll always do what's right for you and get you all the information. So drop me a line, and hope you're having a great week, and we'll talk again soon. Take care.